Hello, it's here to you, and welcome to my brand new Let's Play of Wii Sports. This is one of the few games out there where I can confidently say at least everybody from my generation has played this game. It was everywhere back in the day. And even if Wii Sports isn't talked about as much nowadays, I think it's still a very important game to look back on, and it's still a pretty fun one to play every now and then. So without further ado, let's play one of the most important games of all time. And let's start off with probably the best part of the game. Whee! I just love going back and forth on that. It's one of my big autism things whenever I play this game. It's just so fun going back and forth on that. But anyway, yeah, let's actually get into the game now. Now, it probably would make the most sense to showcase all the sports in order. We got tennis, baseball, bowling, golf, and boxing. I don't like to make sense though. And also, this is the Wii, so I probably should be using pointer controls. Without further ado, let's play bowling! I'm poking your nose, I'm poking your nose. Hehehehe. Starting the game, hold the Wii remote securely in your hand by pressing the A and B button. I love this game. I have a lot of fun memories with Wii Sports, and I'll be talking about a couple stories over the course of this Let's Play. Strike on the first one, that's fun. So, my first experience with Wii Sports. So, when the Wii was first announced, my first time seeing it was this one commercial where, like, I think everybody who remembers the Wii era remembers the commercials of a couple people from Nintendo going to people's houses, and they were like, we would like to play. And, like, I was starting to get more into gaming at that point. I was still a little kid at the time, but, like, I was starting to get more into gaming. So, when I saw them playing games with the Wii remote, and, like, seeing, like, their motions and stuff like that, controlling a game, that was mind-blowing. That was, like, it may not seem like something that would be, like, a big deal nowadays, but that was mind-blowing to see as a kid. I remember specifically the moment that I saw how cool motion controls were. I think it was in the commercial, it was a WarioWare minigame, but like the people were running in place with the Wii remote, and the person on screen was oh no! Okay. Alright, let's actually focus on this one. Alright, let's try to throw it as straight as possible, which is very difficult for me because I'm ace. That was not straight at all. I'm not very good at bowling. I'm gonna say that right now. I'm not the best bowling player in the world. I mean, like, we did get a strike on the first one, so obviously, like, I am a master at bowling, and I am the greatest player of all time. But, yeah. I don't know what it is. I seem to have a hard time making the ball stay going straight. There's something later in bowling, which we'll be talking about, probably in a future episode or whatever, but there's something we'll be showcasing a little bit later that's going to make the— oh, come on! That pin should have totally fell down. That should have totally fallen down. I don't care what anyone says. Okay, now it's falling down, so that's what we do. So we're going to play a couple of rounds of bowling in this game, in this video. We're not just going to be doing like one game and then ending off the episode or anything like that. I think that'd be a little bit lame, kind of a little bit too short for my taste. Okay, we can throw it straight this time. We can throw it straight this time. You got this, Gator. I believe in you. I believe in morning sun. So it's gonna shine again. And okay, we got two of them. That's fine. So I remember seeing those commercials on the Wii and being super excited for it, and my first time actually My first time actually playing the Wii was at a demo kiosk in GameStop. So, ow, there, band. Focus, Gator. Don't smack your hand on her desk. So, we were in GameStop for, I think we were getting something on the Xbox at the time, because we had the original one, and they had a demo kiosk for Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii, and I remember getting a little bit annoyed with it because I didn't know exactly what motions controlled the game, and the only reference that I had was that commercial. So like I was trying to make Mario run around by like running in place, or I think I also saw some videos for a 2-year anniversary on Wii, so I was trying to use some of the motion controls of that game, and none of it was working. And also they had the sensor bar in a weird place where like it was difficult for the pointer to actually work properly because it was next to a window and it was like super bright outside. So I remember my first experience actually playing the Wii wasn't all that positive, and my mom was worried that like if we did get the game's over. Oh no, that was the 10th inning. Oh no, I hate. Oh wait, never mind. I thought we didn't get the third thing on the 10th inning. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. 154. That's not my best score, but it'll be fine. All right, we're gonna keep going until we get pro status. Now, you may notice that the bowling ball was blue in that last minigame. Let's see what happens if we hold down the left button as the game loads. It's pink, bitches! Alright, we'll play one more serious game, and then I think the third game we'll play in this episode we'll be using to demonstrate some super fun Easter eggs in this game. Why can I not throw it straight? Why can I not throw it straight? What's wrong with me? Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, talking about the Wii. So, like my mom was worried that if we did get the game, I'd be like frustrated with it because of the time. I will say, when I was a little kid, Oh no! Are you kidding me? When I was a kid, I got angry at games. Yeah, I didn't have the best temper in the world when I was a little kid, so I frequently get angry at games and things like that. I do overreact to the games nowadays too, but that was off by a pixel. But I'd say I'm genuinely a little bit more calm now. Contrary to what the commentary of this video is saying, genuinely I'm a little bit more relaxed when it comes to games nowadays. I do not like that 4-6 split. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. I believe in us. And... that was a cool looking curve, I'm not going to deny that. Okay, so, yeah. We didn't get the Wii for the first year or so, mostly because, like, we were worried that if we were actually gonna like it or anything like that, and we were also kind of poor at the time. Like, as it is, the Christmas that we got the Wii, we were living with my grandparents because I think my parents were between jobs at that time. I don't remember exactly what was going on with that. But we were living with my grandparents at the time. And it was cool getting the Wii for Christmas. Like, that was like a really fun surprise. But I will say that Christmas was also kind of not that great. Because, first of all, we weren't even really allowed to celebrate Christmas at that point because... like, without going into too much detail, my grandparents have, like, religious beliefs against Christmas and things like that. So, if we weren't allowed to say Merry Christmas around them and things like that. And I remember it wasn't really feeling like Christmas. It was fun to get the Wii. We got Wii Sports and I think Alvin and the Chipmunks. So, that was pretty fun. We played through most of that game on the first day. But I also remember being really sad because... what the rule that we decided when we were gonna start taking turns playing the game, because we only had the one Wii remote, was that whoever was playing the game would keep playing until they lose the game, and then we'd switch it to the other person. So I only got to play the game for like 10 minutes before like my dad and my sisters took over and played most of the rest of the day, and I felt bummed that I wasn't really able to play the Wii for the most part of that day. But like, over time, we eventually did get more games. I remember for a while, we weren't sure if we wanted to get more than 2 Wii remotes, because most of the games that we had, we could just share them in multiplayer. And I remember one core memory. I don't remember if this was, like, the third game or whatever we got. Like, but after we got the Wii, the next big game that we got was Wii Fit. And we thought it would be a fun one, because we all wanted to get more healthy at the time. And... so, I remember we went out to get it, and it was like starting to rain as we were leaving, and I was worried that the rain was going to mess up with the balance board in the box. But eventually we brought it home, and it was a pretty fun game. The Wii era in general was just so special. Like, this is this was the console for my childhood. Like, even though my first consoles were the Xbox and the PlayStation 1, like, the Wii was the one that I played the most when I was a kid. We only went up 8 points, come on. Okay, holding down the right button this time. We are going to get the yellowish one. That one doesn't really look that good. Okay, so this one we're gonna spend the first couple turns doing some goofy stuff. So, yeah. Swing your arm while holding the B down B and race it with the ball. Future Wii Sports games would give you the option to, like, just... That wasn't intentional. Okay, what I was trying to do there, I was trying to do a thing where the... That would be really cool if it was a strike. So the thing I was trying to do, there's this funny thing you can do where if you do it just right, you can... I think you have to go a little faster from there. Okay, let's try going faster and wait for him to finish the animation. Okay, so that right there, that animation right there where you're me, but like just stay in place and just kind of toss the ball like a basketball. This is one of the more amusing animations in this game. Now, I remember being really impressed with the physics at this point when the game came out, but now I can see that they weren't always the most realistic in the world. I remember back in the day, I didn't really care that much about graphics. So before we got the Wii, we actually got the Xbox 360 before that. And we had a few games for it. The more notable ones I remember. My dad had some game based off the TV show Lost. I think it was Lost Via Domus or something like that. I didn't really know anything about Lost at the time, so whenever I watched him play it, I was just completely lost in what was happening. And I don't really have that much of an interest in watching the show nowadays. But we had that game. We had Star Wars The Force Unleashed, which was the big one I wanted. And we had a few other games. I don't remember what they were. But the other one that I remember was the Simpsons game. Because, like, my dad and I, we used to like watching The Simpsons together. And so that was like a fun one to play. I don't think we ever played a multiplayer or anything like that. But I remember one specific day we were playing through the Simpsons game. And so... At this point in time, like like I said, we were living with my grandparents, but we were also living in like a small RV that was parked on their property, and it was cold. Winters in Oregon are cold, so especially when you're in an RV that's not really built for cold temperatures. So there was this one day where we were playing through the Simpsons game, and I want to say it was the level with. When the aliens are attacking and you're in that mall and you see Sideshow Bob at the end of it. It was that one, and then later in the day I was also playing through the Force Unleashed, and it was the level where you're knocking down the TIE Fighter out of the sky. I don't think I told that story during the Let's Play, but I remember looking back on those things, remembering like being like snuggled up in a nice cozy blanket, just sitting in that RV, and I remember also like shaking around a lot because like the foundations weren't super great, and it might seem terrible. It might seem terrible, like sitting in a shaky RV in the freezing cold in a metal RV in the middle of Oregon, but it was still it was a memory I do look back on fondly. I'm just remembering playing those games and things like that, and then eventually when we got the Wii, it was especially fun playing Wii Fit in that RV because especially that one mini game where you have you're running through the obstacle course and you're like running in place on the balance board. That was especially fun with the shakiness of the RV. Nice throw. Okay, now we have to demonstrate the thing everybody knows about this game. That never gets old. That never gets old. I love doing that so much. Whee! This is something that would stick around in future games, except Nintendo Switch Sports. I don't know why it's not in that game, but it makes me so sad. And there's a lawnmower outside. It's 3 o'clock, they're supposed to be done by now. Oh, we got a turkey. We got a turkey. Yippee! Oh, yeah! Oh, my God. Why is it this one that we're doing so well? The one where we're showcasing the goofy stuff. Okay. Let's see if we can do 5. Let's see if we can do 5. Oh! Okay, we got 4. I can live with that. I can totally live with that. Okay, we're just a little ways away from getting pro status. I don't intend to get pro status on every minigame in this game, but I at least want to get it for bowling. So, one thing I remember, I don't know if this is true or not, but one thing I remember seeing on cheat code websites back in the day, so we found a lot of secrets in this game from GameFAQs, back when that was popular, but there's this cheat code that said if you were bowling in this game, and you managed to curve the ball into the other person's lane and knock down the pins, you'd still get those points. I've not been able to find any information on whether or not this is true. I don't know how true it is. It'll count the gutter ball, I know that for a fact, but I'm going to try spending this turn just knocking the bowling ball into the other lane. I don't know if it's possible to curve it enough to make it go into the other pins, but that is a challenge that I want to put to the viewers. If you know information about this, if you're able to prove that knocking down pins in the other person's lane will add your score, please let me know. My guess is that it's not going to work, even if you hack the game. My guess is that the other pins don't have any collision or anything like that. It's because, like, why would they? You're not supposed to be throwing the ball into that area. But if it does work, I'd love to see that. So I'm going to try something a little bit different. If my audio sounds different, I have my microphone set up in on a railing thing now, and I'm standing up playing this. I'm going to see if standing up in bowling will actually improve my score. I don't know if it actually will work, but it is something that I do want to try. And it'll also be like a nice little test thing, because I do have a Let's Play in mind in the future, where when I'm recording it, I'm going to have to be standing up the whole time. So it'd be a nice little change of pace. You gotta be careful though, because this railing thing's right next to my head, so I can't. Yeah, I have to be careful not to smack my head on them. Game finished. Oh, my score went down! That's the opposite of what I want to do. But I've got to water my lawn to keep me clean. That's like literally the only Vine that I've ever seen in my entire life. Alright, so I have a bit of a fun story about Vine, now that I've mentioned it. So, I'm very uncultured when it comes to the culture of TikToks or Instagram Reels or just shorts content in general. Like, I do watch Instagram stuff every now and then, and I have started uploading the Gator Memories shorts on YouTube and Instagram stuff, but I've never opened TikTok in my entire life, and I didn't even know what Vine was for the longest time. So, there's one point in college, this was around the time when TikTok started getting a lot bigger and things like that, and I've been hearing about it for a week, and within these conversations I'm overhearing from everybody, I keep thinking everybody's talking about that Catch-Up song, where it's like, TikTok, whoa, I keep thinking people are talking about the Catch-Up song, but then I hear somebody talking about a video on TikTok, and I'm thinking, wait, a video? How does that work? So I ask her, and I'm like, okay, so don't judge me for asking this, but what is TikTok? So she looks at me all sincere at first, and then she's all like, okay, you remember what Vine was, right? And then I just shake my head, because I've never heard of Vine in my entire life. And at this point, her eyes get big, like bigger than I've ever seen anybody's eyes go in my entire life. And she looks at me, and she's all like, you don't know what Vine is? And literally, not exaggerating, everybody in the theater stops what they're doing, stops their rehearsing because we're doing an acting class. Everybody stops their lines, stares at me, and one guy on the far end of the stage is all like, "How are you alive?" Ah. And to this day, I've still never used TikTok.
Nice throw. Nice throw. Nice throw. Nice throw.
Oh! I had such a good streak going too! Okay, I think I got a good pattern for getting strikes. I know there are speedruns who use like specific strategies to get strikes in every inning, but I'm not good at them. But this strategy that I was using was working for a bit. Where, okay, I'm sitting back down, and what I'm doing is that... I probably should turn my TV down. Well, it ain't too bad. Look at that awesome strike streak. Oh, yeah. Ah, 64 points. I didn't know 64. Okay, we'll go for one more game. We have been going for a little while, and like I'm sure I'll get pro status by the end of the last play. But we'll go for one more game, because I have a good feeling about this. So the strategy that I'm doing is that when swinging your arm back and forth, what I'm doing is that I'm stopping the arm when I'm stopping the roll, like letting go of the B button when my arm is like 90 degrees downwards, but like I'm having the remote still kind of arch a little bit forward. So let's see if this will work consistently. Never mind. It was a good streak for a bit. It probably would work every time if I was smart, but I am not smart.
Nice spare.
But like what I was saying a moment ago, so about speedruns and things like that, there are legit strategies to get strikes in every inning. But okay, I keep saying the word inning. I don't know what the proper frame. That's what it's called in bowling. Like in every frame, there is there are consistent strategies to get strikes in every frame, but like I'm not very good at them. But there are useful strategies out there. I'm sure I'll talk about them at a later point because this game has a fascinating history with speedrunning. Like you wouldn't think Wii Sports of all things would get speedruns, but it does get speedruns. It's pretty cool. But yeah, like I don't know what it is, but I've always accidentally slipped whenever referring to a bowling frame. Like I'd always call it like an inning. So whenever my family and I would play this game, we would always say that you want to get like a strike or a spare on the 9th frame, because like that's gonna give you better luck on the 10th frame or whatever superstition we had. But like every single time, without fail, I'd be all like, all right, last inning, make it count. And my sisters would always correct me, saying that's not the word for bowling. And like, no matter how many times they corrected me, I always slipped up next time. And it wasn't on purpose. Like, maybe at some point when I was a teenager, I was doing it on purpose to annoy them. But like, I don't know what it is. I always called it an inning. And that's not the bowling term, that's the baseball term. I don't know if he still has a whole world record, but one thing I was reading a while back was this one notary guy who was like a diehard Wii Sports fan, and it was really sweet. So he held the world record for the most perfect games in Wii Sports history. At the time that the Zelda was released, it was like 10 years ago, but he had like something along the lines of like, I don't know the exact number, I have it on screen, but he had like thousands of, or hundreds or something like that. He had like, it was a big number, probably in the hundreds, but he had like hundreds of perfect games in bowling, and he kept track of every single game that he played, and it was really, really sweet. This game in general is really great for, like, it's a pretty great game for everybody to play, but it was used a lot in the day for, like, rehabilitation clinics for people who are in accidents and like relearning how to use their muscles. It's used in retirement homes to keep like the elderly people active and things like that. And just in general, it's just a really satisfying game to play. Because, like, I never get sick of playing bowling in this game. So, like, it just doesn't have the same magic in the other games as it does in this one. Like, bowling in this game is like a sweet feeling, you know? Because, like, swinging that bowling ball, it just has, like, a super nice feeling. Ah, my sisters are in the background! Hi, sisters! Hi, roommate! You made me on this Wii. When we were playing Wii Play and things like that, that was a fun time. My roommate and I, like, occasionally play games. Like, we don't play as many games as I wish we could. But, like, we're both boring grown-ups with busy schedules and things like that. But we play games every now and then. Like, when she got all her video games in the apartment, I think one of the first ones that we played was Just Dance, of all things. Like, I had not played Just Dance in years. The only times I'd ever played growing up was with my sister Mercury. And we would... we played Just Dance for a bit, and my favorite one to dance to was always, I think it was in Just Dance 3. It was Dynamite. That was always my favorite one to dance to. We played a couple other games, like Epic Mickey the Power 2 on Xbox 360. And we played a little bit of Wii Play as well. That was always a fun time. And it's really interesting because this game and Wii Play kind of shared the development timelines and things like that. Because they were both developed with the mindset of showcasing the Wii Remote and things like that. So they basically had the development teams make a bunch of minigame ideas, and anything that was sports related would go into this game, and anything that was and then pretty much any other idea that they were using would be used in Wii Play. So Wii Sports, the focus of this game was like the actual motion of the Wii Remote. So in this one, we were mimicking the motion of a bowling ball or a baseball bat or boxing gloves or things like that. Whereas when we play, that one's more focused on the pointer. So you're like pointing at objects to find enemies or doing like a duck hunt recreation and things like that. So that's how they divvy up the games. And I think for this one, it was originally supposed to have like either 3 or 4 sports. They were trying to decide between 2 of them at the end of the development. The exact ones will be on screen. I don't remember them off the top of my head. But they couldn't decide which one of those sports to include, so they decided to just add both.
Nice spare.
Wii Sports and Wii Play would both eventually get sequels later in the Wii's lifespan. Wii Sports Resort. That game is freaking awesome. So, like, I love Wii Sports Resort. And the funny thing is, actually, if I can talk a moment about the development history of this Let's Play, this was actually originally going to be Wii Sports Resort. I was thinking about doing a Wii Sports Resort Let's Play for a bit. Like, I thought that would be a fun one to do at some point. Because we already did a minigame collection Let's Play with Nintendo Land, so I thought it would be fun to do another one like that at some point. And I thought, you know what? Actually, let's do Wii Sports instead as like a fun little thing for April Fool's Day. Because we usually have like a silly Let's Play start like around April Fool's Day. Because we did that before with Game Boy Player and Game & Watch The Legend of Zelda. And I thought this one would be a fun one to continue that tradition. So, at some point in the future, I would still like to do Wii Sports Resort, but that's not for a while down the road, because I want to do this game first. I think I also pitched these games as collabs for the collab channel on game. I don't know if we'll ever do that, but I think it'd be a pretty fun time. I know I definitely want to do Wii Party at some point, because Wii Party, that game is a lot of fun, and I'm really sad that I don't have this for a recording session anymore, but there's one time where, like Beanie Beanie was saying she was having a hard time going to sleep, so she wanted to play Wii Party. So we played a game of Board Game Island and Globetrot and things like that, because she was having trouble going to sleep. And like I had my capture card set up and it recorded those games, but I unfortunately don't have the footage for that anymore. Alright, so I think that's going to be a good place to wrap things up for this episode of Wii Sports. Probably at some point in the future we will come back to bowling, because like I do eventually want to showcase multiplayer in this game, But as for right now, that's going to be it for bowling in Wii Sports. So thank you all so much for watching this episode of Wii Sports, and next time, Lady Gator to you. Oh yeah.